Let's get into today's episode of Why We Succeed.
God is so good, man. When you look back at before you launched the publishing company, what was kind of like your why that made you say, you know what, I really want to like turn writing into a career?
I don't even know that I had a why for that. Let me just be
he
honest.
was like, yo, that's just innate.
I didn't have a why for that. I just always knew. So when I left, like I said, I worked in the engineering field for 8 years. And I had worked with the government for the first 5 of those years. I left there because I decided that I was done with engineering. But I ended up going back after about a year because I missed my engineering paychecks. So I went back to
I'm
work.
sure that hit real nice when it chased down on that direct deposit.
Yeah, when you're used to that DD every 2 weeks, you're like, wait a minute now, something ain't right. I'm checking my bank account. Somebody forgot to carry the one. Okay, where is my money? So I went back and I worked again. And so the second time I actually was pushed out because my youngest daughter, it was the year she was born, and she was born with health defects, and she had a huge hole in her heart, and she had to have open heart surgery and everything. And I'll never forget the day that, and I always share this story. I know this, I'm kind of giving you the long version, but
no, I want the long version.
But the day that I left the doctor's office, the cardiologist, and they confirmed that she was indeed going to have open heart surgery. She was only 3. She was just shy of 3 months old. And she was so tiny because she wasn't gaining weight because of this defect. And I walk into the house and my house phone is ringing, and I answer the phone, and it's my employer because I had been on maternity leave. And she says, I know your daughter's sick, but you've gone over on your FMLA, and we don't really have a position for you anymore. So in that moment, I couldn't even deal with that because I got a child that is sick, that's like fighting for her life. And so I hung up the phone, and I thank God that he pushed me out because I was so comfortable, I would not have left. So he pushed me out, and I was able to go with some stuff because I left with some severance. I'm like the Israelites. When I leave, I want to leave with my stuff. Okay, I don't want to leave empty-handed. So,
that's right. You leaving with a bag.
Yeah, I need a bag. Okay, I need the spoil. I need to leave with this stuff. So I left, and after that, I knew that I was never going back to that. I said, "Okay, God, you pushed me out once and for all." So in that moment, I think to answer your question, my why was not really so much as the writing piece. My why is more for just entrepreneurship in general. My why is creating a legacy, laying the foundation, creating these stream beds in the earth so that my children can reap, my children's children, their children, they can reap the benefits of the work and the groundwork that I have laid. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone did that for me. And I'm not upset, but that just means that I'm determined. I saw a meme years ago that said, if you didn't come from wealth must come from you. And so it's my job. That's my why, to lay these foundations, to create these multiple streams, to make sure that my children understand, and to also to create in them a legacy to see that hard work plus crazy faith always pays off.
That's facts. That's facts. And
so,
something that you had mentioned is so true. One of the misconceptions that people have about many of the millionaires is they think, people got an inheritance. But, come to find out, the majority of millionaires are first generation millionaires, which lets like a lot of them, they go out there and get it. Like nobody handed them anything. And they did just like you, Kristen, like they had to put the work in order to build that for themselves and, hopefully have something to pass on to those future generations.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But so my babies are my why.
Yes. And I love that. And that's actually what I want to talk about next is the fact that you've done all of this. I mean, all your accomplishments business wise in and of themselves, it's like, yo, she been putting in work. But on top of that, you a mother. So like, how do you balance it? How do you manage it? What does that process look like for you?
Oh, Lord. Even that is just a woo, Lord. So So let me say this. I got 3 children and a husband. So that's work too. Okay.
Definitely get him.
So I got 3 children plus my husband. And I heard you say, how do I balance? And so let me just say this. I balance by throwing that balance out the window. There is no such thing in my life as balance, because what happens is when you balance, when you think of the scales balance, they're here and they're even. But trying to achieve that and trying to attain that in your life, it almost is impossible. And you will become stressed and discouraged and frustrated because you can't get those scales balanced. So what I've learned to adopt is priority. Like, what is priority in this moment? It's all important. So let me say that just because it has a higher priority at this moment doesn't mean that the other thing is less important. But I find that there are seasons in my life where I'm very heavy on business. And so I have to kind of lighten up on the family side. I'm still doing what I have to do as a mother, as a wife, but maybe I can't invest. I'm not making it every single place. And this is where my husband, this is why we're a team. He picks up the slack. And I had to be okay with that. And let me just speak to the mothers, because I know that mom guilt is real. And mom guilt will have you stuck. And I think that that's just a trick of the enemy. Any guilt is a trick of the enemy. Let me just say that, because there is no guilt, condemnation, or shame in Christ Jesus. So that guilt is just a trick, but sometimes it's real, and it begins to creep up on us because we feel like we're not doing everything, or we can't be everywhere. But you can't be everywhere and build at the same time. Like, that's just not realistic. So I've just learned to allow God to lead me in what's most important at this moment. And just to be very transparent with you, someone just asked me recently about my business growth over 2021. And I said that, 2020, it was exponential growth. 2021, not so much. And I know it's because I did not focus on growth and productivity. I just focused on just remaining stable. And it was because I got 2 teenage girls in my house. Okay. They're taking a lot out of me. Okay.
I can only imagine. That's about it. All I can do is imagine.
They're taking a lot out of me. They need so much from me. They require a lot. This is a moment where I have to be very hands-on. And so right now, we're heavy on the family side. So business is a little light. It's still staying afloat. I'm doing what needs to happen for it to maintain, but it's light on the business side. So you just have to understand those seasons and those waves and know how to prioritize.
Oh my goodness. Yo, Kristen, everybody who's listening to the podcast right now, they already know the past guest that was on the podcast, Frank Rich. Literally, y'all just confirmed balance is something that needs to be thrown in the trash. Because similar to you, I don't even know how me and Frank got there, but we were talking about balance, and he was just like, balance? Like,
what is that?
Like, right? that doesn't exist. And like, to hear you say that's the reason why when you said it, I was like, oh wow, like, man, like literally just like God is confirming, like, yo, balance is something that I'm having to rethink, because I'll be honest, I've always been a person that looked at like, yo, you got to balance stuff out, you got to balance it. But I'm learning, like you said, it's more about prioritizing. And that's definitely something that I've lived by. I think I've shared it many times with people that I typically try to operate my life on what I like to call like a top 3. And, looking at what are my top 3 priorities at any given time. And, sometimes it changes, that's why I got to check in, do little, quick updates. Hold on. Is number 1 still number 1? Oh no, you done dropped to number 3. Now I got to figure out, like, do I need to make some adjustments?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is so, so important. And, I hope the listeners are hearing that, because my goodness, man, balance. We got to rethink that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you don't, you're going to live under this pressure that's just not attainable, and you're going to forever be frustrated and feeling like you're missing the mark. So throw that balance out window.
Yeah, I hear that. Yo, I love it. I love it.
Hey, Success Squad. I hope you're enjoying my conversation with Jay. I'm Kristen R. Harris, and you can find me at KristenRHarris.com. Those of you who are ready to write and publish those books, come find us at ScribeTribePublishing.com. I would love to connect with you. And those of you who need an extra boost in your prayer life, please pick up my prayer journal. You can find it on my website, KristenRHarris.com. It's entitled The God Put Me Up on Game, the prayer journal. So it will bless your life tremendously.